So I'm going to be showing today my March Madness picks. I'm going to be showing probably around 2 to 3. I don't know for sure which bracket I'm going to use yet as my main one, but I got a couple ones. So as you can see right here in the top left, I got UConn winning this one. So I'm going to go through each round, show you my picks and kind of what I chose. So obviously UConn versus Stetson. UConn has been great all year. I don't see a 16 seed upsetting a 1 this year. So easily UConn. Now FAU Northwestern 8-9. FAU barely escaped their conference tournament, but I'm not too high on Northwestern in the Big Ten, so I got FAU UConn. Here we have San Diego State and UAB. This one I'm just to let you know, I'm a huge Mountain West supporter, so I was gonna pick San Diego State, but UAB at the 12, they weren't bad in their tournament, considering that USF lost pretty early. But I just see SDSU. They're going to turn up their defense. They're going to win. Auburn Yale. I think this is Auburn pretty comfortably coming off that SEC title. I don't see them really having any competition against Yale. I mean, maybe Yale will prove me wrong, but I got Auburn. And this next pick, I was conflicted the past couple days since Selection Sunday between Duquesne and BYU. Duquesne looked great in their tournament. BYU got some pretty quality wins this year, considering in their best conference in college basketball. But I'm gonna go ahead and have BYU winning. I think it's gonna be a really close game. I wouldn't be surprised if Duquesne wins. So, by tomorrow, by tonight, I could switch back to Duquesne, but that's what I got. Illinois Morehead State. That is a great name, Morehead State. But no, Illinois, led by Terrence Shannon Jr. I know he's facing some allegations, but I got Illinois winning pretty comfortably. Washington State Drake. This is my first upset. I got Drake all the way. Washington State, I didn't think was that great. They were in and out of the top 25 poll all year. Not too big on the Pac 12. There's a few teams that I think are good. Washington State is not one of them, so I got Drake. Next, we got Iowa State, the Cyclones against South Dakota State. Iowa State has arguably the second best defense in the college basketball. They just beat Houston by 28. Coming off that Big 12 title, I got Iowa State in this one. So let's move up back to the South region. Houston Longwood, another great name. Houston wins that one. Another upset here. A&M versus Nebraska. Nebraska looks good this year. Their three-point shooting is great. However, Texas A&M's got Wade Taylor the fourth. He's great. He put up 30 on Kentucky. He has been balling. And not to mention that Nebraska is 0-7 in tournament games. It could end this year, but I'm going to take a bet on Texas A&M. Now, here's my 5-12 seed upset. Is James Madison have one of the best scores in college basketball, if not the best, going against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a good team, don't get me wrong. They looked great in Big Ten play all year. They had a little bit rough stretch for about 3 weeks or so, but they knocked off Purdue. And James Madison has been great. Just for example, we're going to bring up James Madison here. Terrence Edwards right here. 17 a game. And he also is their leading assister. I think he is going to be huge in this game. They average 84th, which is 8th. That is pretty good. They're not bad. Field goal percentage, their true shooting percentage is pretty good. Steals per game's pretty good. Defensive rating, not horrible, but they are a 30-win team, okay? They were a 30-win team. and they got a pretty good score in Terrence Edwards. So that's kind of my reasoning. Next, we got Duke Vermont. I was thinking Vermont could have maybe won, but Duke is Duke. I don't see them losing first round. So I'm going to go Duke on this one. Next, we got Texas Tech, NC State. I had NC State probably up until I'm filming this video. However, I'm once again reminded by many people, many sources, many news media outlets how well Big 12 basketball is. However, NC State has been playing great. You know, everybody loves a good college player, especially a good March player, and they got a few of those. They got DJ Burns. A lot of people like him. But that Big 12 defense, the Big 12 as a whole, the intensity of those Big 12 games, I think NC State may not be ready for, especially considered that they play 5 games in 5 days. So I got Texas Tech. Next is Kentucky versus Oakland. I got Kentucky winning. I wouldn't be close if this is wouldn't be surprised if this is a close game, considering how bad we know Kentucky's defense is. But we also know this is Cal's best offense he's ever had, led by Reed Sheppard, Antonio Reeves, and Rob Dillingham. All right, I'm expecting Rob to have a huge tournament. Reed Sheppard has been really consistent all year, and Antonio Reeves has been. And for a first round, we won first round last year. We don't talk about the year before that. But this year, I think we win against Oakland. But don't be surprised if it's a close game and if Oakland puts up 85 plus somehow, because that's just the Kentucky defense this year. Now, this game could change depending in a few hours. It's number 7 Florida, really good SEC team, I think, against either Boise State or Colorado. Now, the reason I have this selected is because I'm expecting Colorado to win. But if Colorado does not win and Boise does, I'm going to switch my pick back to Florida. But for now, I'm keeping it as Boise/Colorado. But CU's looked great. They're on a hot streak. Although they lost to Pac-12, they got KJ Simpson. They got Cody Williams, who are probably going to be. I'd expect Cody Williams is a lock for lotto pick. KJ Simpson should probably be a first round pick. So I'm going to go CU. Next, Marquette, Western Kentucky. I know a lot of bettors like Western Kentucky. Marquette's a good shooting team. They have good coaching. Pretty decent game against UConn in the Big East. I'm going to go Marquette. Now let's go down to the West. North Carolina, Wagner. Wagner was good against Howard in their first 4 games, but completely almost blew their lead. I think, and they got to go to basically, I don't know how far away Charlotte is from UNC, but they got to go to North Carolina. It's basically a home game for UNC. 16 seed, 1 seed action here. Give me UNC. Next, Tom Izzo's Spartans against the Bulldogs. I got Mississippi State. They looked good. Give me Mississippi State. I know Michigan State could potentially pull off considered an upset, but I got Mississippi State. I've seen what they do all year in the SEC. Kentucky barely beat them. They're a pretty good shooting team. And a lot of people don't think Michigan State should be in here, so give me Mississippi State. All right, St. Mary's Grand Canyon. I'm really big on GCU this year. And I think if they're playing maybe any other 5 seed that I'd pick them to win. However, they're playing St. Mary's, who's upgraded a lot since last year's tournament run. And they also won the West Coast Conference. So I'm going to pick St. Mary's here. Tough luck for GCU. But I wouldn't be surprised if I got this pick wrong. Next, we got Alabama, Charleston. See a lot of people picking Charleston. I got Bama. They're kind of like Kentucky, where they have a really good offense, but bad defense. Next, going on. 6 seed Clemson, 11 seed New Mexico. I got 11 seed New Mexico in this one. Looked great throughout the Mountain West all year. They were on a bubble until they just beat CSU, beat SDSU. They got Jalen House on the team, really good senior guard. I got New Mexico Lobos in this one. Baylor Colgate, won't talk too much about this one. Got Baylor. Dayton, Nevada. Here's my another upset here. I got Nevada. Like I said, I'm huge on the Mountain West. I'm really convinced that the Mountain West is strong this year. So I'm going to go Nevada over Dayton. Both are great teams. Nevada's slightly better in net rating, I believe. So I'm gonna go Nevada. Next, Arizona Long Beach State. Long Beach State's head coach got fired before the tournament, but they're in March Madness. Arizona's looked good all year, so I'm gonna go ahead and say Arizona. Let's go to round of 32 here. I got UConn over FAU here. I think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be too close. I'll just move on to SDSU Auburn. SDSU should be a pretty good game. I got Auburn. BYU Illinois. So this one's interesting. I think this game could go either way, but I feel safe with Illinois. But don't be surprised if BYU makes out the first round if they upset Illinois. Next, Drake Iowa State. This could be a Drake upset, but I'm gonna roll with the clones. They got Taman Lipsey, Keyshawn Gilbert, and they got Rob Jones to close out defensively against Drake. Pretty good really good offensive team, I'd say, at least in my opinion. Iowa State there. Now, Houston, Texas A&M. But Houston could get knocked off here, I'm not going to lie. But best defense in college basketball will prevail. Get them to next round here. James Madison, Duke. I love James Madison, but it's Duke here. I'm going Duke. Texas Tech, Kentucky here. Now, if NC State somehow makes it, I would say Kentucky would still win just because of that whole Rob Dillingham NC State background. But Kentucky's offense I like against Texas Tech. As long as Antonio Reeves doesn't shoot 1 for 15 again in the second round, I think we win. Now we got Colorado here, pending on if they win against Marquette. I got Marquette here. Shaka Smart leads them to the Sweet 16. Really no further explanation. All right. So now as we go to the Midwest here, I didn't cover the round of 64. I just realized, but I'll go through it real quick. I got Purdue, TCU upset. I know I like the Mountain West, but Big 12 there. I got the Zags. I got the Jayhawks. I got Oregon here, another upset coming off that Pac-12. I got Creighton, Colorado State upsetting Texas, and Tennessee. Now, it's my bad for skipping them, but we'll go to round 32 here. I got Purdue over TCU. I know a lot of people want to pick TCU. I know, it's pretty heavy, but I like Matt Painter's odds here to at least get him to the Sweet 16. Zags, Kansas. I know Kansas is obviously missing Kevin McCullough. That means Hunter Dickinson's going to get a bigger role, though. And Bill Self knows how to adjust. The Zags aren't the same Zags they were. So I'm giving Kansas the upper hand here. Oregon, Creighton. Creighton, I know a lot of people like them for Final Four. So I think they're going to cruise to the Sweet 16 here. And to go on to CSU, Tennessee. CSU, listen, they'd win 2 tournament games first 4 and against Texas. I think that's great for a Mountain West team. But going against Tennessee, I got Tennessee. Now, it would be great if St. Peter's won, considering what they did to Kentucky. Going against Kentucky's rivals, Tennessee. But I really don't see it happening. They got Zakai Ziegler. They got Dalton Connect. Arguably the best player in college basketball outside of Zach Edey. So, yeah, that's my Midwest side for now. Let's go over to the West. We got UNC, St. Mary's over Bama. Technically an upset. Baylor over New Mexico. And I got Nevada beating Arizona. May not seem practical. If Nevada doesn't even get the first round, this whole side's kind of cooked. So I really got to rely on Baylor here to show me what they did in the regular season, just in the tournament. Which leads us to the Sweet 16. UConn Auburn. Going to be a great game. Maybe one of the best games of the tournament. If it happens. But I got UConn. We got Illinois, Iowa State. Illinois, I think, should lose this game pretty by a large margin. Considering Iowa State's defense is elite. Give me the clones here. So that leads us to Elite 8 UConn, Iowa State. Houston, Duke. I got... This one was tough to decide. But I don't think Duke's got enough on their roster this year to beat Houston. Houston's got the seniority. Kentucky, Marquette. All right. I like this matchup for the Wildcats. I think this is going to be a Rob Dillingham game. It could be a one-possession game at the end, but give me the Cats to advance the Elite 8 playing the Houston Cougars. Purdue, Kansas. Now here's an upset. I know a lot of people think Samford could beat Kansas, which very well could happen. But I'm betting on Kansas to overcome adversity with Bill Self, and they're gonna knock out Matt Painter's Boilermakers, go to the Elite Eight, and Tennessee is gonna beat Creighton. And if Creighton somehow wins, I would take Creighton to the Final Four. But I've seen Tennessee this year. I know what Tennessee is capable of. Tennessee is advancing. So that has Baylor, UNC. I got Baylor, man. I think Baylor's good. UNC could very well cruise through the whole tournament, but you never know when a team could just have an off game, especially with RJ Barrett. Sorry, not RJ Barrett, RJ Davis and Armando Bacot. Then we go over to Kansas, Tennessee. I like my odds with the Volunteers in this one, which automatically puts Tennessee and Baylor. As you can guess, Houston, UConn. Houston beats Kentucky. Defense is just too good. But if the Kentucky's offense just plays great and Houston's offense plays like they did against Iowa State, don't be surprised to see the Wildcats in the Final Four. But as of now, Houston, UConn, kind of this opposite way. I think UConn's just too much of a complete team compared to Iowa State. So we got UConn, Baylor, Houston, Tennessee. Houston beats Tennessee. UConn beats Baylor. Leads me to UConn, Houston. Now this championship game, if this happens, could go either way. But I got UConn winning. So that is probably I guess my number one bracket right now. Well, I think I gotta submit it first before I can leave. Here's my other one. This is Houston winning, so I'll just walk you through kind of the different changes here. Kind of the same Elite Eights, except for the fact I have Colorado beating Marquette. I have Duquesne in this one. I have UAB beating SDSU in this one. I have GCU beating St. Mary's. Now this one is a bit older, but that's why you gotta have two, man. You never know. You never know about those upsets. Like here, I got Baylor, Arizona. This one I have Nevada losing, and I have Creighton, Tennessee. Kind of similar on this side of the bracket on the Midwest, except I picked a TCU upset over Purdue. Now, if Utah State wins, we're cooked because Utah State's not beating Purdue. So let's go up. NC State. So pretty similar Final Four. It's actually the same exact one, except obviously in this one, I have Houston winning. Now I could very well see a Creighton, Kansas, or a Kansas win, sending them to the Final Four. So I'm gonna have to play around kind of with this bracket because this one I'm not as confident in, but it's also March Madness. So the ones you're not confident in could still happen, man. Just like Fairleigh Dickinson beating Purdue last year. Probably ruined a lot of people's brackets. It didn't for me. I had Purdue going out in the Sweet 16, so this one I have going out round 2. Either way, I got Kansas winning. So if Samford beats Kansas, my brackets are kind of all cooked. But that's kind of my alternate one. And I have some on March Madness Live, CBS Sports, where I'm kind of playing around. I have a paper one, but this is kind of my baseline. A few Sweet 16 teams may look different based off the round of 32 and round of 64, but I don't see my Final Four or Elite Eight changing too much. The only thing that I could see is the Midwest and the West changing. East and South, I'm pretty confident it's got to be Houston and UConn on both of those sides. I know 2-1 seeds in there, and then a 3 and a 2. I wouldn't be surprised if St. Mary's could make it out or Creighton on these sides. I know I've seen some people putting them there. Just don't know if they can make it completely all the way there. So let's go ahead and go to the last one. I wasn't completely sure what this one was. All right, this one's got James Madison And we got Kentucky, Tennessee, UConn, North Carolina. This one I could see happening very well, but I have Kentucky in the championship, losing to UConn. This may be a little biased, but it could always be UConn, Tennessee. Probably the more realistic way, considering most teams do not even make it to the Final Four or win statistically if they don't win at least one conference tournament game. But you never know. I'm confident in this year's Wildcats team. So that's kind of my baseline. I got UConn or Houston winning either one. I don't see Purdue winning. So as it comes to the total winner of the tournament, I think it's UConn or Houston. I'm more confident that it could be UConn than Houston. But I got at least one bracket in every platform being Houston. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on my March Madness predictions. And I talk about who I think is going to make all tournament team later. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Subscribe.